Hello, everyone. Today is December 15th, 2022. This is the Kubernetes storage SIG meeting. So today we will wrap up 1.26 release planning and start 1.27 planning. And then there is a few things we will go through after that. So just the formal release schedule for 1.27 is not merged yet. So this is a PR. According to the SWAN release cycle starts on January 9th, and the enhancement freeze is 1 month later, February 9th. So maybe a little early, but we can get it started. So I just copied the 1.26 planning spreadsheet to 1.27. So just start from here. So basically this list, current list is the same as what we have in 1.26. And if you are planning to work on any features for 1.27, it's not here, please feel free to add it to this spreadsheet. The first one is the delegate FS group to CSI driver instead of kubelet. Is Fabio or Command here?
Looks like Fabio is not here, but it's done.
Okay. Do we have any other item like some tests or anything? Do we need to keep this one for that, or are we just completely done? We can just remove this one for 1.26.
Oh, you mean 127? Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, we can remove this one. Okay.
I think we can remove it from 127.
Okay. Let's see. Okay. Just close it out. And the next one is recovering from resets failure. So are we going to bring this to beta in 1.27?
Yes, I have an end-to-end PR that Jan is reviewing. It should get merged like pretty soonish, I guess. And then we should be able to meet the graduation criteria for beta in 127.
Great, thank you. So I think we can leave it here. It's fine. The second one, this is the tracking issues related to Xing volumes among points. Is Xing here? Not sure what's the status. Anyone know? Otherwise, I would just say no update.
Yeah, I mean, no update sounds fine, but I think there are still issues that needs to be fixed. It's not totally fixed yet.
Okay, so we'll just keep this. We keep this item for 1.27. And okay, so this one I think we can remove, right? This is done. CSI ephemeral volume and the local ephemeral. Yeah, okay, so since those are done, then we can just delete this too. Well, for now, I'll just cross it out. We'll delete it later. And the next one is volume group API. Yeah, so I would like to move this to alpha in 1.27. So 1.27. And so there are some comments that I need to address. One comment is from James that he want to have the group related RPCs in a separate service. So I will be working on that. And also another thing is there are some questions regarding how vendors can support the group. How do you add a volume or remove volume, things like that. So we are also working on a questionnaire and hope to get some answers from Story vendors. So that's work in progress. Next one is the provision volumes from cross namespace PVC. And do we have Takafumi? Do we have Takafumi or Masaki here? Or Michelle, you want to give an update on this?
Yeah, I mean, so I think there's still one PR pending on the data populator library, but other than that, it's ready to go.
Okay, so we're not sure whether they're targeting beta yet, right? It's too early to say. For 1.27, I mean, because this is 1.26.
Yeah, it might be difficult to get this beta in 127 because I think one of the things we wanted to do was we were depending on a API in the networking group, and we want to move that API out to like some Kubernetes security group instead. And so that, I think we might need to spend the next release working with the SIG auth on moving this out.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay, thank you. So let's see. Okay, so next one is CSI volume health. This one, there is a E2E test out, but I think it's not ready to review yet. So, we'll try to target. We'll try to target data, but I have to see if we can get the E2E testing before that. But okay, I'll just change this one now. And this one, I think, do we have Ivan or Ivan working on the CPT here? I think they would like to move this one to alpha. So because still working on this, let me just change this. Or I'll just change this one to alpha. I think this is correct. This is alpha. So let's say we'll target 27. Next one is access mode. So is it Chris or Michelle here for this?
Yeah, I can probably speak for Chris, but he's been doing a lot of work in 126 to get the feature ready for promotion to beta. So I think we can target it for beta.
Okay. Thank you. And next one is the runtime assisted mounting. Deep. Is deep here? maybe not. Okay. So Yang, you have been reviewing this one, right? So do you know if Deep want to target alpha in 1.27?
I don't think Jan is today in
Oh,
the
yeah, it's not
call.
here. Oh, okay. So maybe we'll check with them again. I know Deep has a CSS spec PR pending review. So maybe he want to target alpha, but we'll check with him. Next one is a CSS proxy for Windows transition to privileged containers. This one is Mauricio here. Michelle but we are actually not really going through the alpha beta for this one, right? This is out of tree.
Yeah, this work is handled out of tree. There is a design proposal out for review. And yeah, right now my understanding is they did a bunch of work in a feature branch on CSI proxy. And so I think the next steps are to get the design reviewed and approved, and then they can move forward with that.
Okay, so is this design, or do we want to change anything here? We just leave it as design?
Yeah, I think we can put it at alpha. I don't think it'll be like, yeah.
So we don't, yeah, it's not we don't have to go through the same thing, but okay, we'll just keep that indicating that design is probably almost ready. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thanks. And the next one is CSI proxy performance issue. We don't have anyone. Okay, I think we don't have any update on this one, I guess. The next one is a no expansion secret. We still need to get, okay, so we still need new contributors to work on the E2 test, I guess.
I guess, yeah, this needs, I don't know how much cycles Humble will have on it, so this can probably use some help from anyone that might be interested.
There was a person, Alex Mead, who was pinging yesterday in Slack about that feature. I don't know if that person wanted to help or.
Yeah, I can check. I know him. I can check if he's willing to help or yeah. Okay, so I'll leave this one as alpha for now until we find an owner. And the next one is a secure Linux relabeling using mount options. Yang, do we want to target the beta or what is the status for this?
Yeah, so
okay.
Jan is not here, but he has provided us some update, and I think the plan is to keep in alpha, but will be most likely changing the API in the clusters in the CSI driver object, which is a Boolean right now, whether the SLNX support is there or not. We want to remove the restriction of, like currently it only works for read write once pod volume types. But
I'm sorry, are you saying change the API in which API? CSI spec API or what? Which API? I'm sorry, not get it.
CSI driver.
Oh, CSI driver, okay.
So CSI driver had a field that was introduced to support this feature, which was called SLNX mount, whether the driver supports SLNX mount. It was a Boolean flag, but we want to make it an enum so that the purpose of the enum is like, it appears that some drivers, like read write many drivers, they support mounting same volume multiple times with different SLNX contexts, and it just works. But some read write ones, like that have ext4 like file systems on it, they can only be mounted once. So the plan is like a cluster administrator can opt in how the driver should behave. If it if it supports read-write many, then it could be used with, like the same volume can be used from multiple parts, and with mount option, it will all work fine. But if a driver only supports mounting the same volume with only once SLNS context, then it has to be restricted to read-write once. So it might require an API change. So for that reason, I think we'll have to keep that in alpha.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, sure. Yeah, makes sense. So, okay.
We can think offline about all this, like details on this one.
Okay. But this is done, right? Like ET test, volume reconstruction, that's done, right? Those
Yeah. All of that is done. Yeah.
I
Absolutely.
just see the driver changes, API change. And the next one, okay, CSM migration core, that's complete. CSM migration vSphere, that's complete. Okay, yeah, I think then do we still keep all of this here? Let's see, what do you
I think the thing we can target is removing the plugins.
That's not yet, right? It's
which is
I
2
think it's
releases
like
after
2
GA.
yeah.
Yeah, so I think a couple of them, like it was at 125 where we GA'd a couple. That means they can be removed in 127.
We should, okay. Yeah, okay, so we removed them from here. So maybe we'll add a row. So delete, remove, entry. Is it GCE?
Yeah, I think GCE, AWS, and Azure Disk, I think.
Azure Disk, we have this one here, right? So we will continue. Let's see, just say, because I think there are some issues. Did we get those issues resolved? There were some questions on this one, but okay, so we should. Okay, so let's sort it out in 1.27, so we can get this one removed. And okay, and then there's another one. It's AWS, right? CBS.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll keep those, and then we can just cross this out since we probably should keep them here so we don't forget.
Or we can create a 128 tab.
That's a little early. Okay, so well, let me just cross this out for now. And this one as well, we can cross this out. Yeah, this next two, I'm not sure, I need to check with Humble. It looks like he's not on the call, so. And this one, okay, so the next one is support works. And so I need to check with Thierry. Oksana. Okay. And this one, okay, so this one is done. Yeah, this one is done. Okay, this one. This is already removed and documented also in the blog as well. And the next one is always owner reclaim policy. Is Deepak here? So I think we still need a ETU test. Yang, oh, sorry, Yang is not here. Yeah, I think we still need the ETU test. probably check with Deepak on that. And then the next one, control volume mode conversion between source and target. So this one, Ronak is still working on the E2 test. E2E. So target. Change this. Oh, this is already beta. And non-graceful no shutdown. So yeah, so I'd like to bring that to GA, but I need to take a look of the requirements for GA, but I'll just mark this one. So this may have some requirement for like scalability testing and things like that. So just we'll try. And okay, so next one is run kubelet without root. Hemant, this is already alpha, or I do not remember.
It was alpha, but I don't know if they're planning to move it to beta.
Okay.
Quarter, I'll have to check.
And the next one is also a SIG node feature, enable user namespace in kubelet. So UIDs get shifted. Is this one still, this one is targeting alpha, right? Was this
No, it was already enable alpha, but
oh,
it's
already.
trying to. The one person from Signal presented us how it will work with UID integration in Kubernetes and with persistent volumes. So
Okay.
yeah, but I don't know what they're planning yet, but the feature has some blocker bugs with container runtime, so they're trying to fix all of that. I tried to test it and it was not working, but maybe it works now. So we'll have to kind of get all of that. I don't know. I'm not sure if they're trying to move this to beta in 127. I have not heard anything like that.
Okay, so I'll just say, okay, so we're not sure, we'll check.
Yeah.
And then the next one is okay, this is the PV created by stable set, not auto removed.
Yes, so it should be able to get this into beta in 127.
Oh, this one didn't make it. Oh, I forgot.
No, there were. It turned out it had not been in the alpha end-to-end testing job. So
okay.
yeah, there was a bug. So the decision was to have it soak a bit more in there.
Is it like it's not in the test grid, something?
Yeah, it had it has an end-to-end test, but the end-to-end test had a feature flag, and so it had been run manually, but it wasn't getting run with the mutation detector enabled, and so it missed a bug.
Okay. All right, thank you. So okay, so we'll just say this one, we'll change this one to beta, right? That's the target in 1.7.
Yep, I swear this time.
All right, thank you. And next one expansion for stable set. So Haman, do you know, do you think this will be targeting our design maybe still?
Yeah, we'll still target design. If anybody else wants to review, that'll be great, but I will find time to review the design this quarter for sure.
Okay, Yeah, it sounds like, I think I see some comments on that by this guy, this AREL. Yeah, this person looks like he's responding on some comments.
Yeah.
The last one is a better default storage class. So it's beta now. Do you know, Hemant? Do we plan to move this to GA, or do we need more time for that? 1.27. Or is I don't know if Roman is here.
I think we have to, because this just moved to beta last release, so we'll have to wait for one release or so before we can move it to GA, right?
Is there? Is
Yeah.
Okay.
We can't move the feature that moved to beta and just next release to GA.
Okay. We'll wait for one more release. If that's the case, then probably the non-graceful node shutdown should also change that.
Oh yeah, I forgot to say.
Probably this is I mean, need like to get some user feedback as well. So
yeah.
Say we'll wait. So that's what we have on the spreadsheet. So if you have any other feature you want to target in 1.27, please add it to the spreadsheet and we can review that in the next meeting.
I think
yes.
Matt, do you think the QoS stuff might be in a decent enough state to target 127?
Yeah, that's a good question. I was just actually thinking about that. I mean, we haven't started writing a KEP for it, but maybe we should. Why don't we get that on here? I think that's a great idea.
Okay, so at least the design, right? So at least
yes, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so just at least copy that here. Okay.
Yeah, you can go ahead and put me. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you can. When you have more information, please.
Yep. Yeah. Thanks, Michelle.
And okay, going back here. So next meeting in 2 weeks, that's the last week of the year, and people will be off. So we are going to cancel that meeting. And okay, so there are a few items here. So I don't know who entered this. Can you please talk about this? Let's see. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry, my mic was muted. Can you hear me?
Yes.
So this is really quick, but essentially we over the AWS EBS CSI driver, we're implementing a feature to allow users to specify the block size of file systems. And my colleague Rashab brought up that this might want to be a like a shared parameter similar to like other like common storage class parameters. So we decided we wanted to bring it up during the meeting if there was any interest for that.
So this is basically documented all the parameters you support in your driver here. And okay, so this one is a common one. And then
so you see, for example, FS type is a common one. So we're implementing a parameter for block size, and he brought up that it might make sense for this to be a common parameter, and we decided to ask at the meeting if there was any interest in that.
Does anyone else on the call use this?
Yes. So just kind of thinking out loud, we have a general options for mounting, right? But we don't have anything for making the FS.
This is we have this one. This is like under parameters. We have the same.
Yeah, there's a
Typically-
common name used for FS type.
Yeah,
Yeah.
typically
There's
parameters.
also,
Mhm.
there's also the mount options that people can set. I think Matt is asking, there's mount options, but there isn't like a create FS options.
Yeah, you cannot supply custom option to MKFS commands.
Yeah, we're gonna do it on their behalf.
Yeah. So like, I guess that the thing I'm suggesting is that like, and I don't think I actually have an opinion here, but just suggesting that like, do we want to add a general options for MakeFS or have like, specific a block size, and then, as things change in the future, I can envision that we would add additional parameters as well. Like it might be more general to add a MakeFS options parameter rather than just a specific block size.
Yeah, I'm not committed either way on on like which one would be better for our common parameters. So
But the way you specify block size is going to vary depending on the file system, right?
well, we just take it as an integer and use whatever.
Right. But I mean, if you were to take.
Oh, you mean like how the parameter? Yes.
Yeah.
That
It would need to be a different parameter if it's XFS or EXT. I don't know what kind of trouble you could get into if you just let people start putting arbitrary parameters.
That's why for now we wanted to. That's why on our implementation we only take it as an integer because, we were scared of like the security like implications of allowing like just arbitrary.
Yeah, that's fair.
I guess does like block size factors into things like IOPS, right? So do we think that maybe defining a block size could be useful for the QoS stuff?
I think IOPS can be independent of block size. Like an IOP or a block size puts like a floor on how small an IOP can be. But just because you have 4K block size doesn't mean you can't do 32K IOPS.
Yeah. It's a property more of the file system, not like the underlying hardware or volume.
Yeah.
I guess one problem is like if we put it as a parameter, like as a field on storage classes, we'll have to also figure out how to pass it down from the storage class. We have to copy it to PV and then to pass it to the CSI RPC call because it's the driver that formats the disk, so it has to be.
Yeah. We're gonna take it as a storage class parameter either way. We just wanted to know whether or not it would make sense to use like a common name like we do for the FS type.
Yeah, but FS type is also a field on the PV, so it will require a change in PV object type also.
Yeah, there's a plumbing concern there because the
I see
FS type is consumed when kubelet does the node stage, right? And so it has to, and by that time, it's possible that the storage class has been deleted. So you need to have copied it somewhere so that it's available when you stage the volume.
Yeah, and then we get into the business of how do we separate like mount options that are applied to the mount flags, and then because the same RPC call node stage will call MKFS and do like mount. So it's like it requires two separate bag of hashes or two separate bag of fields it will require in that case.
Yeah, so I think the question is whether block size is so ubiquitous that it should be singled out as not just a generic flag, but and in the fullness of time, MKFS flags, more esoteric file system specific MKS flags like journaling options or number of inodes, we probably wouldn't want to call those out explicitly. I think the question here is whether block size gets special treatment, because every file system in theory has some notion of it.
Yeah, we were talking, I believe there was previously, we were talking about, the storage class could be deleted or whatever. But what I was going to say is we could, the suggestion here would be not making it a parameter on like the PVC or something like that, but just change, like having the name in the storage class be like something well known. So not the way it's done with FS type.
I mean, no, that is fine. But I was saying that like, if it has to be in the storage class, it has to be somehow go to the, like be in the PV object, so that during.
Oh, I see. We pass it in the context. That's how we're smuggling it to, so we know it. So we get it when it's mounted.
So yeah, so if we use it, promote this as a top level field, then it has to be like on the same level as FS type. Then not sure if it can be in that context.
Well, I just mean like when the volume is like the way our implementation works is that when the volume, like when you call like a controller create volume, like the context we return has the block size in it. That's how we get it all the way to when the mount happens.
I didn't know that the context lived that long. If you were doing a immediate provisioning.
Well, according to the CSI spec, it does.
Oh, this is the. Sorry, I think I'm getting confused about which.
Yeah, I understand the confusion as I got confused myself. But yeah, from my understanding, when you return controller create volume, like you get to like the context that's returned from that is like eternal.
Oh, I see.
Or like for the existence of the PVC. Or I mean, not PVC, PV, but you get the point.
No, that is fine, but that is in Kubernetes is stored inside the volume attributes fields of PV, right? So
I don't actually know how the backing implementation works, but I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, and then it gets passed to as a context to the node stage or node publish requests. Now, FS type on the other hand is stored as a top level, not top level, but one level higher. It's not in that same map of volume attributes, which could be anything generic that create volume returned. So FS type is a different field, a separate field. So if we say, okay, block size is special, then it has to be on the top level field in the CSI volume source, like in the PV object. Is that, and if we want that, then that's like kind of complicated.
Well, even just temporarily, right? It could still just go through like the context, like the attributes, right? Like,
Then you could then there's no point in moving it. Then you can keep it in the storage class parameters as it exists. You don't have to promote it to a top level field.
Sorry, I'm not trying to propose promoting it to a top level field. The question we were just asking was whether or not it should have a well-defined name in the storage class parameters. So, like that would be consistent across CSI drivers.
But the thing is that nothing in parameters field. Parameter is a map of string. Nothing in parameters field has a well-known field. The FS type is one level above that, and that's why FS type is named. And if you want block size to be named same as FS type, then FS type has to be one level above. It cannot be inside that parameter map.
Well,
I think he
So
was
Hamad,
saying that he was
there are some
mentioning
parameters with well-known
Yeah.
names, ones that the sidecar consumes.
So like this one, right? He was mentioning this. He was basically asking if we
This
can
one, I
make that
think,
block
actually
size
needs to
similar to this.
Well,
Infer
that
from
might be a side effect of how things are implemented. I guess in the between, like the plumbing between the CSI sidecars and
Yes. Yeah, the
Like I think the
sidecars can
FS type
define.
is the FS type field is a top level field in the storage class, but then we end up translating it down in the create volume parameter call to this with this CSI prefix. So it's not, this isn't something users actually put in their storage class parameters.
Yeah.
but
Oh, sorry, keep going.
no, I was partially wrong actually. Sorry, I was just looking at it. Even though FS type is actually a field, top level field on PV, it doesn't seem to be it doesn't look like it's a field on storage class.
Yeah, it is. It's under parameters. Basically, it's like how they are documented here.
Yeah.
So I think he's asking whether we should do something similar for the block size. I guess that's his question.
Yeah. Yes, that's basically the question. Like, is there enough interest? Like, do we think that this is like a global enough parameter that, you know, other people might implement it and that it would be worth having a consistent name across drivers for it? Or should we just say, you know, everything in parameters is always opaque, you know, like, you know,
Well, but part of the problem is that there's not really an official mechanism for making those parameters be standardized. It's just that for the ones that happen to be in the sidecar code, they get treated as special, right? If someone pushes a PR to external provisioner that consumes a field, that string suddenly becomes magical, but there's no official process for that. So like if we were to start consuming the block size parameter in external provisioner, like, yeah, we would have to pick a string and that would become the standard. But like, I don't think we want to do that. We just want the plugins to consume it and do what they're going to do with it. And yeah, it's hard to define a standard then.
I think my sort of where I was trying to go with the QoS question was like, if we think we could benefit from like a standardized or first class concept of it, like maybe to enable some features such as QoS, then, you know, then I think we can maybe consider that as part of it.
I like that idea, but we'd have to bear in mind that it would not be backwards compatible, right? Like all existing CSI plugins would ignore it, and it would only apply to things after a certain version.
Yeah, and it would have to be like a capability or something.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll take the consensus is now for no magic strings that aren't through the sidecars.
Yeah, it looks like
that's where I'm leaning.
No consensus on making this a common name, common string here. But we may want to take a look at this when designing the QoS. So let's see.
Yeah.
Not sure what we can do with this one yet, but
I'll defer to the QoS team for any further updates on that. For now, we'll probably just leave ours as is, and we can, if there's a magic string in the future, the QoS team decides on or whatever, then we can.
Yeah, I think that sounds like a pragmatic solution for the time being. I'll add this to the notes on QoS.
All right, thanks.
Okay, thank you. Let's see, do we have another? Oh, Michelle, you want to talk about this?
Yes, I added this one. But basically, I know some folks here might already be familiar with this, but I think this might be new for a lot of people. But there is this community called Data on Kubernetes, which is basically like a community of end users who are running stateful applications on Kubernetes, and they are there's a lot of like database folks there that write operators for the various databases, and they share a lot of best practices. And there's a lot of good content here. I thought that it might be good to have sort of a more regular kind of roundtable or forum between Kubernetes and this end user community, so that we can basically collect feedback more regularly and maybe help drive priorities on different different projects that we might want to take on in Kubernetes. So I think we're going to schedule a first roundtable with the community in January, and so I'm kind of going around to all the SIGs to gauge interest. And yeah, so if you're interested, add your name to this list. And then when we schedule the meeting in January, then I think we can basically send out another email to on the Kubernetes side to all the folks. And yeah, that's all I wanted to say here.
Thanks, Michelle. Yeah, so take a look of this and join it if you're interested. Okay, so I think that's all we have for today. Anything else? And okay, so if there's nothing else, then we will end the meeting now. We will meet again in January. Happy holidays, everyone. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Happy holidays. Thank you.